Kia ora, Year 9. This is a word problem that was written by Leo. And Leo, I've changed it around a little bit to make the numbers work a tiny bit better. Guys, this is harder probably than what you're going to see in the JAF test. And it's a bit more like what you'll see when you do level 1 number. So it's sort of in between Year 9, Year 10 and Year 11. But I want you to have a look at it because I want you to see that in real life we have problems that are really, really wordy. And we don't get told which skill it is that we need to apply. So there are two things going on. There's reading the words and understanding what you need to try and do, and then being able to apply the individual math skills really easily. The first thing to do when you get a question like this is to have a good read through it and just highlight with a highlighter pen or underline the key things. So Leo's got 1,574 lollies. Don't ask me why. But Leo wants to give away 528 of them to Linus, Oscar and Zohab in this ratio, 5 to 4 to 7. And I've just made this bit up. I said, Leo, that you'd wanted to give them away because you didn't like the flavour anymore. So then Leo wants to buy back some more lollies, and he wants to end up having 94% of the number of lollies he started with. 7 years ago, he had $159, and he gets 5% interest every year, and that interest compounds annually. If you're watching this and you're freaking out that you don't know what that means and you're in Year 9, that's totally fine. We're not going to test this in Year 9, but some of you have learned how to do this compounding interest thing, and it's not that bad. Okay, so until recently, the lollies cost 34 cents each, but the price has gone up by 30%. Has he got enough money? That's the first thing. Now, if he hasn't got enough money, he can go and get a job at Countdown that pays him $22.80 per hour. Step 1 is to work out how many lollies Linus, Oscar and Zohab get. So that's a unistructural question, right? We're going to use this ratio and we're going to divide up the 528 according to that ratio. And then after that, I want to see some full working for working out whether he's got enough money already to buy the lollies he needs. There are quite a lot of little steps to do that, and each one needs to have a couple of words and a mathematical statement. Lastly, if he doesn't have enough, we have to work out how many hours he'd have to work. So let's start off by just looking at how I do headings when I'm doing this kind of thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is just say, well, what's the first thing we're going to work out? What is he giving away? So he's giving away 528 lollies, and there are the ratio is 5 to 4 to 7. So 5 plus 4 plus 7 is 16 parts. One part will be 528 divided by 16, which is 33 lollies. So Linus gets 5 times 33, Oscar gets 4 times 33, and Zohab gets most of them 7 times 33. And we have to work out what those numbers are. So 165, 132, and 231 lollies. So that's step 1. Right, now what's next? How many has he got left over? And then he wants to end up with 94%. So another heading. Left over, underline, column. He started with 1574 and he gave away 528, so he's got 1046. What does he want? Well, he doesn't need all of them. He just wants 94% of them. Don't ask me why, Leo. I have no idea why you wrote that, but 94% of 1574 is this, 1479 lollies, 0.56. Can't have part of a lolly. That would be gross, so we've got 1,480 lollies rounded to the nearest one. So what does he need? Well, he's still got 1,046 lollies. So he needs 1,480, take away 1,046. So he's got to buy 434 lollies. Right, next, what's the cost? Well, the old cost was 34 cents a lolly, but the price has gone up by 30%. So it's going to be 34 cents increased by 30% is times 1.3, right, using the multiplier. I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you're confident with all of those individual skills. If you're not, go have a wee look on Dr. Frost. Now, with this cost, I could have rounded this, right? So I could have said, well, you don't buy a lolly that's got part of a cent. I could have gone through the rest of my working and said rounded to the nearest cent is 0.44. But I thought about those bulk bins at the supermarket, and I think sometimes they do go a little bit more precise. So I'm going to leave this just with the exact value there. Either is fine. Okay, I wouldn't round it any harder than 44 cents. It's not that a lolly is 40 cents. It's just that can't have part of a cent. So how many lollies do we want to buy? Well, we need to buy not all of them, right? So we just need 434. So 434 times 0.442 gives me $191.83. Now we have to work out if he's got enough money. So the savings is going to go like this. He started off 7 years ago with $159, and he's been earning 5% interest a year compounded. Now, the slow way to work that out is this. In the first year, he gets 5%, and that amount gets increased by 5%, and so on. But again, if you're watching this video, most of you will probably remember that all we have to do is to take the initial amount and times it by 1.05 to the power of 7, because we've got 7 years worth of interest. Now that gives me $223.73. Since this is more than 191.83, he's got enough saved up. Okay, so that's all for now. Hopefully that made sense. I think for most of you, the biggest thing that you'll be surprised by is probably not the maths, right? The maths is not too bad. It's just applying individual skills. It's how I'm trying to set my working out, right? And this method here, where you have a few words and an underline, a few words and an underline, is a pretty clean way to show the person reading how you're structuring your answer. And that's really important. It's important for real life if you had to write a report for someone about something like this. It's also important practically for when you're doing NCEA assessments starting next year or the year after. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll try and video a few more of your the questions that you've made up for me.